Alright guys, how's it going? So today you join me on a road trip. I'm heading all the way down to southern Spain. I've done this journey maybe 50 times without exaggeration, and I always take the ferry, but this time I decided to take the Eurotunnel. I set off from Manchester this morning about 4 AM and drove the 300 miles down to Folkestone, and I'm currently sat somewhere under the English Channel. My Instagram feed is always filled with other YouTubers taking their supercars down to Monaco on these epic road trips. But sadly I'm not in a supercar, I'm in a 15-year-old Toyota Rav4 with a diesel engine. I bought this car a couple of days ago. That's what sensible people do, isn't it? Buy a 15-year-old unknown car and then take it on an 1,800-mile journey across a continent. That's rational, isn't it? That's sensible. Yeah, I thought so. It's got no service history. The previous owner lost the service book apparently in a house move. That old chestnut. The only shred of service history that I've got, under the bonnet there's a sticker which I think says that it's had the timing belt changed. You can't really tell because half the sticker's missing, so it just says, I'll show you a picture of it. So that's all the service history I've got. I have had an oil change done before I set off just to give me half a chance, and I've brimmed it with Shell V-Power diesel just to try and help it along. So far the only thing that I've noticed that's broken is this driver's sun visor. It doesn't retreat right the way to the top as it should, and that's pretty much it on a 15-year-old Toyota. I don't want to end up sounding like Scotty Kilmer, but it does seem to be quite a reliable thing. I've driven 300 miles this morning and I've averaged 47 miles per gallon, and yeah, it's driven without fault. The temperature gauge hasn't moved, it's just been steady. But it's a Toyota at the end of the day, so I don't know what I'm nervous for. I wouldn't want to do this journey in an 04 Freelander with no service records. Although that would improve my French, wouldn't it? Does anyone know what's French for I think my car's overheated again? The Dover to Calais ferry takes about an hour and a half, whereas this only takes 30 minutes. So it'll save me about an hour's time, which means that I can get further on in France. Anyway guys, wish me luck, I'll see you later. Morning guys, quick little update for you. I'm just south of Bordeaux. I think I'm about 100 miles from the border with Spain. I spent the night last night in one of those little budget B&B places, which are like, you know, the kind of like porter cabins stacked on top of one another, but it's all you need after like 12 hours of driving. So I think yesterday I did 820 miles. So after a couple of beers in the hotel bar, I was ready for my bed. Next stop for me is San Sebastian, and I've never actually been there before, so I might stop for lunch and see what it's like. Yesterday it was like 32 degrees. Today it's only 20, but it's still quite early. And because I put my foot down a little bit, the speed limit's slightly higher in France, and I had the aircon blasting away. My MPG is now dropped to 45 from 47, so it's still unbelievable for a car of this age. So far I'm 920 miles into this trip, and it's not missed a beat. The only thing that I've noticed actually, there's a bit of trim on the roof that's all standing proud, so that's either come loose, or either that or it's seen a female Rav4 that it quite fancied, who knows. I keep seeing very nice English plated cars driving past me, and I just look on in envy because every time I do this trip it's always in something cheap and cheerful like this. I think just one time it might be nice to do it in a Range Rover or a Bentley GT or something like that. Anyway, one day that might happen. Every time I do this drive I'm always quite relieved to get through France because I don't speak much French, and I always think if I've got a fault with a car or some sort of issue, I've got zero chance of getting it resolved. I'd have to rely on a friendly local offering me a hand. The chances of that are pretty slim. So I'm always quite relieved once I cross the border into Spain, because I lived in Spain, I can speak Spanish to a reasonable level, so I always think if I did have a problem in Spain, at least I have half a chance of resolving it. So anyway, yeah, next stop Spain. So I'm now on day 3 of this 1,600 mile journey, and I've realised I've missed out big chunks of the trip. I'm not the best at this whole road tripping vlogging business, but honestly it was all a bit boring. The car hasn't missed a beat. I mean, it's 32 degrees. I'm on the outskirts of Cordoba, I think. Yeah, it's 32 degrees. I've got the aircon on full, and the temp gauge just refuses to budge. It's exactly where it should be, and it hasn't moved. Yesterday I drove from Bordeaux all the way down to Madrid and then checked into a hotel in Madrid just to break up the journey really. I've now got about 200 miles to go. I've just filled up for the final time. Diesel's much cheaper in Spain than France. It's like 130 a litre here, and in France it was like 165. But the car has been faultless, it's been utterly reliable. I'm now back in Andalusia, and you can tell because the landscape has gone very barren and arid. Northern Spain was all lush and green. You can definitely tell I'm in the south now. I've been thinking this car is a bit like a Casio wristwatch. You're never going to aspire to own one. You're never going to walk past a jeweller's, look through the window and think, oh yeah, I really fancy one of those £50 watches with the rubber strap. But it just won't let you down. It's boring and sensible, but it's just completely reliable. You just know that you can rough it up and neglect it and it'll still work. It just does exactly what it says on the tin. So next stop, Malaga Airport, where I'm picking up my brother, and then yeah, like a 25-minute journey home. So cheers for watching. This might have been completely boring, but I just thought I'd share it with you. Cheers guys, see you later.